There are jobs in Web3 that pay you over $100,000 per year in salary. Because of the nature of Web3, most of these jobs allow you to work remotely, and they also are non-tech related. So let's talk about those in this video. As we mentioned in the intro of the video, not all Web3 jobs are tech related, meaning you don't need to be a front-end, back-end developer, or mid-end. I don't even know if that exists, but you don't need to be a programmer. You don't need to be a developer. You don't need to know any of these skills. Just like Web2 companies, Web3 companies, protocols, networks, whatever it is, for them to be successful, it needs to have aspects that are as good as Web2 companies in other aspects other than the code itself of the protocol. So this opens up and gives opportunities for jobs like marketing, sales, finances, HR, community, content creation, and many others. I just listed these, but there are tons and tons of job positions that do not require you to be a developer of any shape or form. You don't need to know C, you don't need to know Java, and all these languages needed to be a good programmer. I'm going to show you here on the computer some salaries between non-tech and tech jobs to compare what it is that changes in salary, like in US dollars, and we're gonna list what is the most paid for both of these. We're gonna be comparing them. So this website has Web3 jobs. It has a board where you can look for jobs or you can list jobs, whatever it is. But for us, we are interested into these salary categories that we have right here. We can see that the highest paying job is a senior account executive, and it gets from $240,000 to $260,000 per year. Now, by scrolling down a little bit, you can see we have operations, economy designer, marketing, sales design, legal, finance, all the categories for non-tech jobs. We also have many more. If you scroll down right here, you can see the whole list of it with the average, the minimum, and the maximum year. Of course, when you start, you will be most likely closer to the minimum than to the average salary. But then with more time that you get in the company, you should look to get above what it is the average, or at least the average yearly salary for your niche. And you can see even the most simple or easier jobs, like for example, community manager, you're looking at a decent average for a community manager, $81,000 per year salary, which is amazing. Of course, here doesn't list mods, all these sorts of easier jobs that people assume it is easier, but usually they require hours, they require input from the worker itself, but they still should be listed here in my opinion. I think they just don't list it here because there's no jobs for this position, but usually for a mod, Discord mod or whatever it is, for a moderator or a little bit above a moderator, almost close to a community manager, what you should be looking for is a base salary of at least $6,000 per year, and you can go all the way up to $15,000 per year. It depends what you're offering and what they ask from you for this position. Now, if we check the Web3 developer salaries, you can see how it changes drastically the numbers already. For example, a React developer, they can get all the way up to $435,000 per year in salary. The salary, as mentioned here, it depends on programming language, seniority level, and work location. Of course, all of these offer remote, and they should offer remote. Some of the companies or some of the supervisors might be picky and try to lower your wage because you live in a certain country. Well, I personally don't think this should be a factor. I think once you go remote, whatever place that you are in the world, it shouldn't matter whether you are in Argentina or in Australia or in Pakistan, whatever it is. I think if you're doing your job and you are qualified for the job, location shouldn't be a deal if we are talking remote only. Now, if you're compared to a US, physically present in the US, for example, by physically being present in South Africa, of course, the US one should pay way more than the South African job, for example. But once it goes to remote, which all of these should have the possibility for you to work remotely, I don't think the gap should be that big depending on where you are in the world. If you scroll down right here, you can see all the averages, the minimum and the maximum salaries for each position that you look for. Again, these links are going to be down in the description of the video so you can check it out. And you can see that for developers, for programmers, the salary, the base, at least the average, is way above the non-tech people. But that makes sense because there's a lot of time involved to learn all these languages and to become a good developer in the first place. So I do agree that they should have high paying salaries, but this doesn't mean that non-tech should have low salaries at all. It means that everyone needs to have their own level, their own salary according to specifics. So how did I start in the first place? Well, mainly as a content creator. When I started in Web3, to have a Web3 position, to work in Web3 or Web3 related, it was with this YouTube channel. Then I think after 1 year of being only involved in Web3 and crypto, because of this channel, I got offered a job as an advisor for a protocol. So I did that. It was paid. I would have weekly meetings with the staff, with the team. I would try the UI, where we'll get back and forth on what is the best way to approach retail market, to approach users, what users prefer. We had, I think, 3 or 4 advisors for that protocol, and it lasted around 4 to 5 months. And then once the protocol left the beta version and it went live for everyone, it was not on whitelist only. Of course, there is no point of being an advisor anymore. And then we parted our ways. Then after this, after a couple of months, I started being a moderator and content creator pretty much for a Discord server. And then how that worked is I was a moderator, but I was also a content creator, and there was an affiliate link. So everyone who joined the Discord, because it was a paid Discord, if they joined with my link, I would get a percentage of their monthly subscription. This is a great way for you to start, at least to start as a part-time thing, instead of you dropping your current job, or for you to try to move fully from Web 2 to Web 3, because it allows you to understand and provide value to the server itself. So it was great. Eventually the Discord kind of died out a little bit because it was the beginning of the bear market, but this is when I started looking for jobs more into the growth and marketing for protocols, and I got a job as a growth. Then it ended up changing to a little bit of a marketing, and then it scaled down to only community manager and moderation, and now I do a little bit of that and also moderation for another Discord. So how does that work? So I think if you are starting like me and you don't have skills, or you don't have a qualification to work in marketing or any other specific niche, I think start as a moderator. Find a good protocol that you enjoy, that you use already, and see if they are looking to get a mod. Usually mods, they don't get paid a lot, but this job is one of the few jobs where it is okay for you to have multiple jobs. So I think you can manage to have 4, maybe 5 different servers and to be a mod, a good mod, an active mod in all of these. And if they pay you around 500 to 800, which is usually what you're looking for as a moderator per server, you're looking at a good amount of dollars per month. Of course, it also depends on how many hours you're going to be investing in being a moderator, if you're a full-time or part-time, but indeed it is a more simpler job that requires only a phone or a tablet if you don't have a computer. So you need to have Discord to be able to get into calls, video chats, talk to people, create rooms, manage the server, be a good moderator at all. Something that needs to be pointed out is that being a mod, a community manager, growth, whatever it is, whatever jobs from those that I showed you here, these are active jobs and they need to be taken seriously. This is not passive income advice. For you to be a mod doesn't mean that you need to log in on Discord and not do anything the whole day, and you do this with multiple servers and you're gonna be rich. No. This is not a passive income strategy. We're talking about jobs. We're talking about incomes here, salaries from work that you do. So make sure you have this in mind, because I see a lot of people saying, hey, you can be mods for 10 different protocols, 10 different servers, and you're going to be making like $5,000 a month, these sort of things, which eventually you're going to get fired from all of those, and you're not going to be able to make money from Web3 anymore, which is the whole purpose of you being able to work from anywhere, remotely, in a different country, or while you're traveling, all these sort of things. I want to talk about a few points that you need to keep in mind before you start any of this. The first one is to always make sure you're providing value to the company. So let's say if you get paid $500 per month, let's say, with this job, whatever it is, the best way for you to grow in position and also in salary inside the company is for you to provide more value than what you're being paid of in US dollars. So let's say again, $500 is what you're getting paid. You need to be providing $800, maybe $900 value for your company or for your boss. This is because later on, once you're consolidated inside a company, once you've already spent some time in the current position that you have, you can go ahead and ask your boss and ask your superior for a better position or a better deal on your salary, because you're going to be able to prove them that what you're offering is way more than what you're getting paid. This might not be linear for example, jobs like a moderator or a community manager, mainly because most of the time you're just talking to users, and it is a little bit harder to create value out of these positions if you're compared to someone in marketing, which you can see the numbers increasing or decreasing, or by someone in a creative position, which you can see by creating more content or creating better content than what you're getting paid to do. But it doesn't mean that it isn't impossible, it just gets a little bit harder. Once you've applied this first rule, the second rule that we're going to talk about is very important as well, which is you don't need to stay in that position or in that job for long periods of time. There are plenty of researches online that you can find that have proven that people that stay in the same job for more than 2 years, they overall in the long term, they do not have good salaries if compared to people that keep switching jobs, keep switching positions every 2 years at least. But of course, when we talk about Web3, when we talk about crypto, these time frames are like cat years or dog years. They're like a fraction of what human years are. So these 2 years that these researches show, most likely for crypto, they tend to be fractions of this period. So we're talking about months in the same position. So that being said, this is good and bad for some reasons, but if you apply the rule number 1, this one it will be good for you. You can see there's a lot of rotation in Web3, and this also applies to jobs. There's a lot of people getting in and getting out of the same positions, not only because they are applying indeed rule number 1, that are always providing more so they climb this ladder faster, also because sometimes they're not a good fit for the project, or they are, for example, better specialized for marketplace instead of being a DEX. So everyone has their specific talents that they need to look out for job positions that fit their criteria. But you, in this case, you never need to settle for something. Every time you are in a job that you are providing value and you're getting paid, and let's say you've been in that position for 5 months, 6 months maybe, I think it is time for you to maybe ask for a raise if you deserve it, of course, and also start looking for another job opportunity. This will not only widen your network, meaning that you can find other people, you can communicate, connect with other people in Web3, which will give you way better opportunities to find better jobs, but also goes back to the research that we've been talking about. You'll be more inclined to find better jobs and to get better raises than if you just settle for the current position and wait for your boss to be kind enough to give you a better raise. And this one might be counterproductive, but I personally think it is a good thing to have, and it is, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Of course, these mistakes, you need to tread lightly on what mistakes you do, because some of them might be dangerous and even cost the company money. So make sure you don't make mistakes that are going to be aggravating for your company or for your boss, but just try things out. In my case, as a moderator, as a community manager, I always try to find new ways to be proactive in the Discord server with the community on Twitter, for example, or on Discord, and try to generate conversation for other users to engage in that conversation, or to organize events that are going to attract new people. And then with these new people, you can capture them to try out the protocol or try out the services that you are offering as a company. This is not your job, but again, it goes back to being productive and generating more value for the company. Once you do these things, you are going to be prone to making little mistakes. Of course, it is something like trial and error. Some of them are not going to work. Some of them are going to be performing well, but they need to be tweaked a little bit. They need to change something for them to apply for the next one. So there are all these things that need to be done, little mistakes or little errors, better than mistakes maybe, that need to be done for you to increase your productivity maybe, or for you to better perform at what you're doing. It doesn't really matter. And once you have these 3 things, I almost guarantee you that this applies to everything, not only Web3. Whatever job you have, if you follow these rules right here, you won't stay long in that position that you currently have. You're going to be finding a better job either somewhere else, or you're going to be growing and climbing the ladder inside the current business that you're in. But now, wait a minute. The way that I'm talking, the way that I'm describing things to you, it sounds like it is always flowers and sunshine and the day is beautiful, but it is not always the case. So I need to burst this bubble, I need to break this wall and tell you the things how they really are. The pros and the cons of working for a Web3 company. Personally, the one that I don't like the most is to be limited to a period of time during the day. 200 hours, 100 hours, 50 hours, 60 hours, whatever it is that you have working in your contract. You are limited by these hours right here. I don't personally like this style. Another thing that you have that most people don't like, I also don't like, is that you have a boss. Having a boss comes with human interactions that sometimes can be challenging. What can happen is sometimes you know what you're doing and you're doing it in a correct way and in a good way. There's nothing wrong, but because it does not fit well with your superior, and these reasons we're not going to get in, but it can be because he doesn't know what he's talking about, or just because of taste. He doesn't like the way that it's being presented, even though it is something that does apply to the current situation. He or she, your boss, decides that is you need to do it all over, or you need to do it again, or you need to change this and that. Even though you know 100% because of your abilities. This is just one example, but it can apply to all things that are related to humans interacting with other humans. So for these sort of things, having a boss sometimes can be a pain, or he can be just straight up an asshole and being bad at paying you in time, or just not a nice person, and the interaction are usually bad interaction between a boss and an employee. These sort of things, you see them every day. You most likely live these things if you already work for some company. These things also apply for Web3. So here we reach a point of no return. Here you need to set some rules for yourself, and you need to abide by these rules for everything you do once you get to this point. The point is that here you have 3 paths to take. One of this is to continue being an employee, so you keep things as they are just because you like to have a salary, you like to rely on your job as a main source of income. There are a bunch of reasons that I'd say are positive for you to keep your job as an employee, so it is a valid option if you decided to go this route. The second path for you to take is the freelancing one. Well, the freelancing, it has cons that you're not tied to any job, meaning that you don't have a fixed salary. You don't have that security that having a job, that having a contract, a salary offers you. But as a big pro, at least for me, you don't have a boss, to be honest. You just work for production. The more you produce, the more you get paid. And this production or creation is not tied up to hours, it is tied up to work. So if you charge by what you are creating and not by the time you're taking to create that thing, sometimes the same amount of hours that you work as a freelancer and someone who is an employee, you can be making way more money. So for example, we see in Web3 right now a bunch of designers, graphic designers offering freelance job. So instead of them being tied up to a company as a graphic designer or as a product designer, whatever it is, there are a ton of different designer sectors here. But these people, because they can take 4 or 5 jobs at the same time, so in a week they have 5 different jobs for 5 different companies, they can be making way more money if they had a stable income from one single company. So this is really good for freelancers. Of course, the ups and downs is that you're not always going to be having the same opportunities and the same workflow and the same flow of orders that you would have in every month of the year. So sometimes you can have busy months. You can have, let's say, 4 or 5 months of very busy work, a lot of work, and then other months that are not going to be that productive, other months where you're not going to close many deals. Let's say, for example, this also applies with bull and bear market. During bull market, you're going to be flooded with jobs. You're going to have to ask other people to help you with these jobs. And during a bear market, you most likely will see drastic reduction in orders from your freelance gig. And then there's the third one, which is a very controversial one, because most likely you've heard why you need to be your own boss, why you need to have your business, but it's not always sunshine and flowers with this either. And as I mentioned, it is to be your own boss, for you to have your own business. And personally, in Web3, this is very hard to do. You most likely see a bunch of influencers creating their own token, promoting their own token, but these things are scams. I'm talking about you creating a business that has utility. So you created some sort of service as a service, or you create some sort of protocol where you have a yield aggregator. So these people deposit in your protocol, and then the protocol generates yield by depositing in other protocols and doing all these transactions for the user itself. There are infinite possibilities for you in Web3. But let's say you choose this route. You want to have your own business. You know what you want to do. You already have a plan and a mindset ready for this. Well, the first thing is money. This is the route that requires a lot of capital firsthand, and you won't see the returns just as fast to begin with. So this is not a route for you to make money right at the gate. No, for you to make money as a business owner, as a protocol owner, or as a company in Web3 in general, you need to invest a lot of money. Then you need to raise a lot of money and seed rounds, whatever it is, by talking to VCs, all these sort of things. Later on down the road, in 1 or 2 years, you're going to see the valuation of the company going up, and then you can sell the company, or you can start focusing on a way for the company to be profitable, to collect fees, whatever it is. These things take time. So even though you do have something that is working, something that is interesting for the public, you as an owner won't be seeing the financial returns right there and then. It will take a little bit of time. So it is not for everyone to have this sort of money to begin with and the ability to hold until the company is a profitable one. On a personal note, I am blessed with my current job situation, mainly because now I'm covering all the spectrum that I talked before. I am covering all of these 3 points: being an employee, being a freelancer, and being a sort of a business owner myself. What does it mean? Let's go over these together. First off is that I still work as a community manager and moderator for a couple of projects, meaning that I do have to dedicate daily hours to this job. I do have a salary from it, and even though it might be low if you compare to other jobs, it is still part of my income, and I want to keep these jobs, maybe even add a third or fourth protocol as part of my salary for being an employee. And then as a freelancer, I do write content, I do create content, both text or video, for other projects, for other people, for other influencers as well. This is a very profitable thing for you to be a ghostwriter for influencers on crypto Twitter, for example. You can get a lot of these jobs that pay very well, let's say hundreds of dollars, even thousands of dollars, depending on the size of the creator, for you to make threads about certain projects, certain protocols, or even just threads about financial advice or tokens or whatever it is. But the thing is, it is not easy to find all these jobs here, especially jobs that pay well or that are legit. Some of these jobs for you to write something about token X or protocol Z that pays 1,000,000% APY for you to deposit, stake there, whatever. So if you're okay in promoting scams, if you are that kind of person, then yes, you will be able to find whole tons of jobs. But if you have a little bit of a sense, like I do, a little bit of a moral compass, then it limits you to the amount of jobs that you can get, the amount of jobs that you can find that either pay well or are legit. And then the YouTube channel is my business, and now I do have employees that work for me, which is my editor, which is editing this video right now. And this also I consider a Web3 job, because I do need to follow Web3, I do need to follow crypto, the markets, everything that is happening very close by for me to trade my crypto options, for example, live here every Friday. By the way, don't miss it. Check it out every Friday here on this channel. I trade crypto options for everyone that want to come hang out. They can see me, but also for me to make videos like these where we talk about crypto, where we talk about markets, where we talk about finance. I need to keep an eye in crypto. I need to keep an eye on everything that is happening in the market. So I do believe, especially with the niche that I have, which is crypto, which is real yield, yield farming, crypto options, all these sort of things, I need to stay active. I need to stay up to date on what is happening with crypto, meaning that makes it a Web3 job pretty much, just as a content creator more than anything else. But still, it is a Web3 job. So this is the overall situation that I find myself in. I hope this was an insightful video that can help you decide if Web3 is something that you might consider to be a full-time job, a full-time position, where you can choose either one of these jobs that we mentioned here. You want to either as a freelancer, as an employee, or you starting your own Web3 business. If by any chance you're watching this video all the way to the end and you're already part in the Web3 ecosystem, you already have a Web3 job, comment down below. What do you do? It is good to have network, so someone might comment down below, help you out, or you can be able to help someone else down in the comments below. So make sure to drop a comment, let us know here, because it is always interesting to see what other people do in this community. So again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. See ya.